Hey there, and welcome to today's Explainer. We've got a really exciting journey ahead of us. Seriously, we're going to bridge that massive gap between being a casual creator, someone who just makes things for fun, to becoming an absolute master of creative production. Whether you're producing a killer music track, designing a visual campaign, or piecing together a massive multimedia project, this Explainer is going to be your ultimate step-by-step masterclass. So get ready, because we're going to learn exactly how to think, act, and create like true industry professionals.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for the day. We'll kick things off with a professional mindset, build up your industry toolkit, and explore the GRASP's planning model. Then we'll literally walk through the production workflow step by step, figure out how to handle quality control and feedback, and finally wrap up with the continuous creative cycle. All right, section 1, the creative professional mindset. Going from casual to master. Before we touch a single piece of software or pick up a camera or record a track, we have to completely rewire how we approach our arts. And it all boils down to this one essential question. How do you actually turn a good concept into a finished work that's original, technically sound, culturally responsible, and truly meaningful to your audience? Well, it's a lot like building a house. Having a super cool design means absolutely nothing if the foundation isn't up to code. True creators know they have to balance their technical skills with a really deep sense of cultural responsibility. You're not just creating in a vacuum, right? You are communicating directly with an audience. To really wrap our heads around this, let's compare an amateur creator with a creative professional. Now, an amateur usually approaches a project by just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. They'll toss in random, flashy visual effects, or maybe pick a font just because it looks cool, with zero real purpose behind it. But a professional? A professional makes incredibly deliberate, highly intentional decisions. Every single color choice, every audio tweak, every revision, it is all made to support the project's ultimate goal. If an effect distracts from the core message, the professional strips it out, no questions asked. Moving right along to section 2, your creative industry toolkit. We have to learn the language before we can start building. Now, what's really interesting here are these 5 foundational terms. They're the absolute bedrock of your professional toolkit. Think of it like cooking a masterclass meal, okay? Your concept is the specific flavor profile you're going for. Your technique is exactly how you chop your ingredients. Your process is the step-by-step recipe. Your practice is your basic kitchen hygiene and organization. And finally, your medium is the actual physical ingredients you're using. Lock these terms into your memory, because I promise you'll be using them for the rest of your creative career. All right, toolkit in hand, let's hit section 3, planning with the GRASP's model. This is your ultimate production checkpoint. So, what is GRASPS? It's a planning framework designed to ensure total alignment of your goal, your role, the audience, the situation, your product, and your standards. But listen, here is the absolute most important takeaway about GRASPS. It is not just some boring document you fill out at the start of a project and toss in a drawer. It's a living, breathing production checkpoint. Throughout your entire workflow, you have to constantly pause and ask yourself, does this artistic choice actually serve my goal? Is it right for my audience? Does it hit the standards we set? Your audience and your goal have to dictate your methods every single time. Let's look at how this plays out in the real world. This brilliantly illustrates the concept. Imagine a team of multimedia students, and they're tasked with creating a tribute for National Teachers Month. The goal? Recognize teachers and their influence, the audience, students, and their families, mostly scrolling on social media. Now, because they knew exactly who and where their audience was, they deliberately chose to use an emerging practice, mobile-first vertical framing. They literally optimized all their visuals for a phone screen. That wasn't just a happy accident. It was a highly intentional, technical choice dictated entirely by their GRASP's planning.
Okay, we are now entering section 4, the engine room, the step-by-step production workflow.
Let's unhurriedly walk through the first half of this workflow, the drafting phase. Step 1, you confirm that creative brief. Make sure your GRASP's alignment is rock solid. Step 2, you gather up all your raw materials, your assets, your scripts, your props, the whole shebang. But I really want you to pay close attention to step 3, creating a minimum viable version. This is absolutely crucial. This is your rough draft, your messy storyboard, or your initial unpolished audio mix. You literally just have to get a rough version out of your head and into the world so you can see if the core concept actually holds together. Then in step 4, you can start deliberately applying your chosen techniques to build on that foundation. Let's see how this builds into the second half of the workflow, the refining phase. Step 5, you monitor your draft's quality against your project standards. Step 6, you actively seek out feedback from your peers. Now, step 7 is the real game changer. You revise and refine based on constructive criticism. Honestly, having the humility and the skill to actually fix your project based on someone else's feedback is the exact thing that elevates your work from amateur to professional. Finally, step 8 is finalizing and packaging the work. And step 9 is presenting it to the world and, crucially, reflecting on your entire production journey.
Which brings us beautifully into section 5, quality control and feedback. Let's talk about the final polish. So, when it comes time for evaluation, how are you actually judged? Well, your work typically gets measured against 4 massive pillars. First step, creativity. Are you showing purposeful innovation? Are you bringing fresh ideas to the table? Second is technical proficiency. This is all about proving genuine mastery over your tools and processes. Third is presentation. Is the final product clear? Is it engaging? Is it completely appropriate for your target audience? And last, but definitely not least, originality and cultural responsibility. This basically means ensuring respectful representation, making sure your materials are ethically sourced, and properly attributing everything. Master these 4 pillars and your work will be practically bulletproof.
So the crucial point here is that giving and receiving feedback requires precision. Being critical means using specific, actionable evidence, not just sharing your personal taste. Take a look at bad feedback for a second, saying, "I just don't like it," or throwing out a lazy "nice." I mean, what is a creator supposed to do with that? They can't improve. But good feedback sounds like this. The transition at 0:40 is unclear. Shortening the pause may improve flow. Boom. That is incredible feedback. It pinpoints the exact location of the issue, tells you why it's a problem, and offers a concrete, actionable solution.
And now we've reached our final section, the continuous creative cycle, innovating right up until that deadline. If you remember only one thing from today, let it be this. Creating is never just a straight line from point A to point B. It is a relentless, continuous loop. You analyze your audience's needs, you improvise a solution, you refine it based on feedback, you reflect on how well it worked, and then you innovate to make it even better. Throughout this whole messy, beautiful process, you are constantly swapping hats. One minute you're a passionate, uninhibited creator, and the next you're an objective, ruthless critic of your own work. To be a master, you have to embrace both roles. I want to wrap up this explainer by leaving you with a somewhat provocative thought to chew on. True creators are never really finished, they just meet deadlines. Think about that. Your work can literally always be tweaked. It can always be improved. But a huge part of being a true professional is knowing exactly when to let it go and share it with the world. So how are you going to apply this relentless, intentional cycle to your next masterpiece? Thank you so much for joining me for this masterclass today. Now get out there, grab your toolkit, and start creating something amazing. I'll catch you in the next explainer.